What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm here to talk to you about how to take better photos when it's raining, specifically talking about street photography. Today we seem to have a special guest, a baby cat and a squeaky chair, which I'll try not to move too much because it is proper squeaky. But in true Friday Flicks fashion, we're going to jump straight to the chase. I've compiled a list of things we need to make sure that we don't trash our kit, we stay as dry as possible, and we get the best snaps possible by being prepared. So to start with, I'd highly recommend bringing an umbrella. Umbrellas are great for staying dry. We all like to take photos of them, but it also helps keep us dry when we're taking photos. Second of all, a very decent waterproof jacket. This is going to also help keep us dry because sometimes the rain likes to come in sideways. Now my third thing for being prepared is a double one really, because I would pack as light as possible and take a smaller carry as you possibly can. You may want to take more stuff, and if you do want to take more stuff, make sure that your bag or your carry, whatever you're carrying, your sling, whatever it might be, is waterproof or at least water resistant. Hopefully, if it's water resistant, you've got a jacket and you've got an umbrella that should protect you. Even if you don't have a waterproof bag, you may have a cover for it, so I'd recommend having that ready to go just in case it starts really raining. Fourth on my list is make sure your camera's ready. So most of the time we know how we're going to set up, give or take, but make sure you have your SD card in, make sure you have your batteries in. You don't want to be getting to your destination soaking wet and then having to go back because you've forgotten something. My fifth point is mostly for the coffee lovers out there. Make sure you have at least somewhere you know you can hide out in case the heavens open or you just need to like dry off just for a moment. So for me, that would be a coffee shop, or I don't know, somewhere you like to eat. If you're in England, Nando's, in America or Europe, whatever your thing is, at least be prepared to dive in from the cold, from the wet, just in case you need to. But now we're on to the good stuff. So I went down to Brighton today. I've taken some photos and some B-rolls to give you an idea of the sort of stuff that we want to be shooting. The idea of this is to essentially help you tell better stories, help you, just do something a little bit different to, going out and shooting an umbrella. Umbrellas are great, don't get me wrong, it is on my list. However, it isn't the be all and end all. There are other stuff to do that is much more interesting in my opinion. First up is shooting details. Now, you don't have to shoot details only in the rain, but often when it's raining, you can get very different details. For example, you can get the raindrops on the side of whatever it might be, rails, bike seats, For example, here in Brighton, you can see the raindrops on this tarpaulin, which was covering some clothes. It's just a bit different, and they're part of a story which on Instagram I have now put online. You can have a look. It's all about telling a different story, showing people that it's raining, but not just with an umbrella. Not too dissimilar to details is textures, and that's our next point on the list. Shooting textures and stuff like this is really cool. So it doesn't have to be just raindrops, for example, which would count as a texture. It can be steamy windows, and steamy windows are very common when the weather is wet because people come in where they're hot, they take their jackets off, so these windows become quite steamy and it creates a really cool atmosphere, which means you can then start to get shadows and silhouettes behind the windows. And again, you're shooting textures but with a silhouette in the background. That's a very interesting, it's a very different photo. As you can see here, there's a few options, a few different ones that I've taken, a few little video clips to give you an idea. Give it a try. Textures are wicked. I love using textures. You don't have to use them obviously for just raining, but I think in rain, getting the nice raindrops, you kind of use the misty, steamy windows to our benefit. That leads me nicely on to point number 3, which is shooting through windows. But don't limit yourself to shooting in through windows. Think about maybe stopping for a coffee, sitting at a window and shooting out through a window. Very soul lighter. But it worked for him and there's no reason why it won't work for you. Shooting through windows is awesome. There's plenty of interesting characters the other side. You also can benefit from some details and some textures from the raindrops, from the steamy windows, and you can put the three together, and that's ultimately what I've done with a lot of these photos, is put 2 or even 3 of these things together to tell a better story. Number 4 is everyone's favourite, umbrellas. I promised you it was on the list, and it is on the list, even though it's very obvious, because I'm going to put a slight twist to it. Now, shooting umbrellas is great. They're, for some reason, just very beautiful. And maybe it's the shape, maybe it's sort of the mystery of the person hiding underneath. But why I've included umbrellas on this list is because I want you to think a little bit outside the box. So instead of shooting just an umbrella, why don't we think about shooting through a window with textures, and those 3 together can create some beautiful photos, as you can see here. Number 5 is reflections. Now, reflections are quite often from a window point of view done in the summer. I use that a lot because it creates a bit more mystery, a bit of darkness and cinematic elements to my photos, which I enjoy very much. However, it can also be done when it's raining, because again, you get the textures, the steamy windows, the droplets going down the window, while you're also shooting using reflections. So that's one way to get a reflection, but a better still, you can shoot from the floor, getting reflections of whether it's a detail, whether it's someone's feet in the water, whether it's raindrops on the water, whether it's a subject in the water, or someone with an umbrella, for example. That's again using an umbrella, but use it in a reflection. So it's telling a different story in a different way, but using the elements that we can kind of put together to create something a bit more interesting. Number 6 is playing with your shutter speed. Now we're going to go from fast shutter speed to slow shutter speed, and I'm going to explain why. We're going to use a fast shutter speed to get everything sharp, everything in focus. And more importantly, specifically for rain, it's a really good way to get raindrops in focus so you can see them sort of bouncing off the floor. Now, I didn't get the perfect amount of rain to showcase this, but I did kind of get some, so you can kind of get an idea. But that's why you would obviously use a faster shutter speed. Now, using a slower shutter speed is a little bit more interesting and a little bit different, because we can create some motion in our photos with the other elements. For example, umbrellas, which everyone loves. We can use those umbrellas with motion, as you can see here, to just create a little bit more mystery, something a little bit different, something maybe a little bit more interesting in our photos. The 7th and last point is abstracts. Now, abstract photography isn't for everyone, and some people don't actually think it's street photography, but in my opinion, it can be street photography, especially when you're part of telling a story on Instagram, like I said. Now, this is a really cool way for us to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more artistic, and we can put some of these elements together. For example, here you can see I've used really cool textures. I've used a pretty high f-stop so that behind you can see is relatively in focus, not in focus, obviously it's out of focus, but it's not blurred to smithereens, so you can't actually see anything. But this photo here is a little bit abstract, it's a little bit different. Now, I didn't get any brilliant abstract photos, if I'm totally honest. I would love to have got a few more, but we can take some of the points discussed previously and put them together to create abstract photos. For example, you can use an umbrella, you can use motion, that creates a little bit of an abstract photo, and like I said, you've got the textures and then subjects behind, that is also a little bit abstract. And you can use reflections to also create some quite abstract images. And honestly, although these 7 points are there to guide you, go crazy, do whatever you want, but just remember, you can mix it up. You don't have to take the same photo all the time. Telling stories is a really cool way to become a better photographer, and that is personally why I do it. Like I said, my Instagram account, I've just posted a set from my day yesterday, and there's loads of different images in there, so you can see the sort of stuff that I'm taking to tell a story that's a little bit different than just an umbrella, or just, you know, somebody getting a bit wet, someone holding a jacket, which is quite cool. But I mean, you need to tell that amongst other things, in my opinion. It just is, it makes for a better photography. As always, guys, I don't know all the answers, and I'm sure I've missed loads of things out. If there's something specific you feel I've missed out, Let me know in the comments whether it's in the prep or whether it's something that is really glaringly obvious that I should have included in my 7 points. I made it an 8th point or a 9th point. You tell me and let me know. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I hope you found it interesting. Sorry I'm a little bit like funny speaking today because I've been ill again. Can you believe it? But my name is Nathan Miles, aka NJM Flicks. Find me on social media here. If you have any questions, like I say, hit me in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.